fight the power like Big Chuck.
What's the status, 3?
I'm good, just making the world a better place, that's all.
That mob shit. Nothing but this hard. hard shit.
Infamous, stamping on your forehead, baby. Niggas be acting like shit is all gravy. Load up the 4-5, about to get busy. I'm in the street every day, then I run this city. Smoking that icky done, I can't feel my face. Shit must be laced, let me hit it again. Sit wrong, keep it poppin', then they did it again. Why kick true facts, shootouts with black max. Axe around the way, niggas know I did that. Pump drugs all night, rockin' the ski mask. We last longer than all these Frank heads. Take less, shake feds, I love to break bread. Fuck chicken heads, that's part of my MO. R.I.P. to my brother in Yambo. You looking for a twin, I got tons of ammo. In the streets every day, your niggas forced to lay low.
Press, text, pull out text and let wet. Text, gun the world sweat.
It's my turn to shine. I sparkle like a razor. My style like a box cutter master.
Press, text, pull out text and let wet. Text, gun the world sweat.
It's my turn to shine. I sparkle like a razor. My style like a box cutter master.
Pure bullshit filter. I run a comb through the hood and find my target. Comb the hood, find his apartment. Infamous wildlife, you food in the forest. Nigga, this mob shit. Here's a riddle, take him to the hospital. Was black with the white sheet and red all over. Over here is war, you just another dead soldier. I've been around the world, but America is colder. Much more fab, much more wow. The chopper go chop, the popper go pow. This ain't no 80s shit, this is right now. I transcend time, this 2012. You need a hard smack in the back of your head. This system corrupt, better wake up, kid. Cause there's nothing we can do except spread the word. And then one day we can all shake the world. Gambino and Scarface, do it to death. How we gonna do it? Gonna do it to death. Prodigy and Havoc, do it to the death. How we gonna do it? Gonna do it to the death. Joey and Bravo, do it to death. How we gonna do it? Gonna do it to death. On the east and west coast, do it to death. How we gonna do it? Gonna do it to the death.
Press, text, pull out text and let wet. Text, done the world sweat.
It's my turn to shine. I sparkle like a razor. My style like a box cutter master.
Press, text, pull out text and let wet. Text, done the world sweat.
It's my turn to shine. I sparkle like a razor. My style like a box cutter master.
Real no lick shots. Peace, Connecticut. Yo, what up? Yo, time is running out. I already blew all those theories to pieces. People said I need to be saved in the name of Jesus. One more time. What's up, Mind's Eye? Woo! It's been a long time. It's good to see you here, bro. I gotta give Mind's Eye a wrench. I took wrenches from people who don't. Most people didn't do nothing wrong. They just never come back. So I figured, I guess people ain't coming back. Like Not Know thought he did something wrong. I tried to tell him, but he didn't want to hear it. So and the weather don't know what to do. Yesterday, No, the day before it was 95. Now today it's only 60. I went back to that tower this morning, and I was looking inside the door. It's all locked up, but people go in there because there's a Christmas tree. It's small though. It's only room for stairs to go up this so alleged clock tower. As a matter of fact, let me upload the video. And I know whatever was there, it can't be that old, whatever they buried. Because there's fucking alarm things on these windows. Like back in the day in the 90s, they had those like, you know, them little plastic things they would put on the window. So if you opened it, it would trigger a silent alarm. But I got to read 6 pages of, well, I don't have to, but what page am I at? 78. I just want to finish this book. You better start getting into something a little different in here. In this, what did I leave off on? 78. Okay. I left off right here. Let me turn this off. Hold on. All right. Excuse me. So let me just start these 5 or 6 pages before I begin this presentation. It's not much, the presentation. I try to find as many pictures as I can, which ain't many, but I'm still going to look and share what I have. I'm still trying to find out what building used to be there. Somebody told me a Town Fair Tire, but I just don't remember that being there. And then I want to find out what that other place was at the end there. It looks like it had to do with the government, just for the fact that, matter of fact, let me get these pictures. Because of the camera that it Man, it's always booting me out, man. What the fizzle? Oh shit. I'm going way overboard. I tried to upload 14 pictures. That ain't gonna work. No way, Josue. But I went back and this is what the top looks like. I try to tell people that it's a parking lot. I went back this morning to and then it goes this way to the, so that's whatever was here. You can see the driveway entrance right there, which it kind of would look like a tire place considering how long these driveways are. But it's just odd to me that I gotta enter through the top part here. I enter through the side, which is back over that way. I figured I could enter through up here where the church is. I'm gonna probably go in the church if I could get in. But yeah. But let me read this real quick because I'll never stop because architecture is more important to me than, even though this book is important, I think it's very interesting. It helps me to understand the earth. All right, my mouth's dry. All right. Today's keynote speaker is Charles Was. All right. As long as the correct temperature influence is prevailed, well, I'm just going to say, if people want to start the book from the beginning, and damn near the beginning of every video is the book. I think at the end, I will figure out a way to put it in order so people could just listen to it. As long as the correct temperature influences prevailed, the regular supply of water and nutrient salts and the proper profiling of the supply vessels, capillaries, could also proceed without interruption. As long as the mutual interdependency continued to exist in its proper proportions, the process of biological growth could also proceed correctly according to natural law. Water and nutrient salts took the shortest and straightest route, and the water rose vertically, plumb. The structure was built up in parallel, closely packed layers, resonant timber. I don't know what vis means. Maybe visual? Nah. Anyway, under these conditions of correct, naturally ordained growth, a tree trunk necessarily assumes a cylindrical form. Such trees exhibit extremely narrow annual rings and a tall branchless, therefore not free, and fully lignified trunk. When they say not free, if people ever cut trees, you know what a knot is. We're not talking about a knot in your shoelace. Similar, but it's a knot in the wood. However, the manipulated exploitation of light-induced growth by forestry clear felling operations has been carried out with the aim of reducing the period of rotation so as to make the greatest possible use of the forest areas. Whilst, I don't know what that word means, whilst this undeniably leads to an increase in quantity, it also results in a simultaneous drop in quality. As always, with excessive illumination, too much water enters the supply vessels. The depot of nutrient substances sinks because the ground temperature has been altered significantly. The uptake of nutrient salt is reduced and the rising ducts can no longer lignify themselves as fully as before. The excessive influence of temperature, too meager a crown closure in the case of shade-demanding timbers during their youth, or too thin a bark in the case of light-demanding timbers, overheats the ascending water in the rising ducts, which then inevitably dilate as a result of the temperature-induced increase in the volume of water. The sun not only loses the ability to draw up an increasing amount of water in these enlarged rising ducts, but the support from below provided by ascending carbonic acid gases, CO2, is also absent. These ascending gases, in the form of increasingly buoyant bubbles that progressively expand with warming, normally fill the rising ducts like corks and thrust the water ahead of them. Clearly evident here is the necessity for the poor interaction between the forces of traction, suction, and pressure, which are brought into being exclusively by inversions in the movement of temperature in the water. Now, how does this affect the uptake and processing of nutrient salts? We have stated that the nutrient depot has subsided owing to the sinking of the groundwater table. A fresh supply of nutrients for plants is therefore out of the question. All that remains is the smell of quantity left behind in the soil after the retreat of the depot. In point of fact, these residual salts will be dissolved by atmospheric water and eventually taken up by the plants. But because of the above shift in forces, they are no longer able to benefit the whole plant, and in the main are actually left lying in its lower portions. A more detailed examination of such a tree unquestionably shows us that in the lower parts, even if lignification has occurred, it cannot be described as being a high quality, whereas towards the crown, growth becomes increasingly disorderly and malformed, as though mauled by wild animals. The very outward appearance of such a tree proves the accuracy of this assertion. From the lower portions of the trunk, the branches spread far out. The closer to the crown, the more slender the branches become, due to poor nutrition. In short, the tree becomes what is commonly described as a beautiful Christmas tree, cone-shaped structure, full of branches, a typical plantation tree, but cannot be described as a high-quality forest tree. What does the structure of such a tree look like? Since with exclusion of air, oxygen, deposition always occurs at the location of the lowest temperature to differentiate from the process of deposition under the influence of air, alternating influences of light and shade, alternation between direct and indirect solar influence, give rise to an irregular deposition of salt over the full height of the tree. When the tree trunk is exposed in this way, the supply of nutrients by the most natural and optimal route, shortest and straightest, will be broken off, and the supply vessels will be forced to adopt a serpentine or spiral-like conformation for lack of the requisite forces. Yeah, for the lack of requisite forces. We also find a phenomenon identical to that in the tree on the surface of the earth, in the curvilinear form. Yeah, in the curvilinear form of brooks, streams, and rivers. The only difference being that here the deposition of suspended matter does not occur at low temperatures, but under the influence of heat. For a further example of process of deposition taking place with the exclusion of light and air, the reader is referred to the instances of sedimentation and disintegration in mass concrete dam walls discussed elsewhere. I skipped a line. Even if slightly out of context here, attention should nevertheless be drawn to the process of deposition in the human body, i.e. to artery sclerosis, whatever that is, to artery sclerosis. It says should nevertheless be drawn to the process of deposition in the human body, i.e. to artery sclerosis. And I was thinking this with the salts and how they're comparing, I thought that the human body kind of the same as the tree. Anyway, in the light of all these explanations, let us now ask ourselves, what does the forester desire, and what has he achieved? He saw a more rapid turnover, because from his point of view, Mother Nature's tempo was too slow. In the exploitation of light and heat, his purported science saw a way of achieving a quantitative increase in growth. Yeah. Whenever you try to speed up Mother Nature, it never works for the most part. You'll get quantity, but you won't get quality. That goes with everything in life for the most part. Whenever you try to make shit cheap and speed it up, the quality is trash. And that's why China stuff sucks. Because they're more about quantity than quality. In the US, a lot of the stuff used to have great quality. But that's nor here and there and everywhere. He applied this here in ignorance of the prevailing laws, and it was thus inevitable that his science should become an unprecedented fallacy. Superficially, more timber can actually be seen and also measured. Indeed, the amount felled might also be increased temporarily. However, in reality, the decline and destruction of our former high forest was perpetrated with singular thoroughness. The forest is now in the direst of straits, and the moment has arrived when, as matter of course, help is normally extended to those in crisis. Hundreds of thousands of people are without bread, and the forest owner is destitute. From what has already been stated, it should be quite superfluous. What the hell does that mean? Superfluous? To make a more detailed analysis of the present lamentable decline in the state of agriculture. There is essentially no difference in the growth of plants, whether it be tree, bush, cereal, grass, or vegetation of a lower order. It would be a grievous error if remedial measures other than those now essential for forestry were to be applied to a foundering agriculture. In nature, a law of growth and synthesis prevails, just as does a law of decay and disintegration. Whether growth or decline take place is exclusively a question of temperature, with hitherto has been so grossly neglected. It endows water with its utterly essential energy form. In one case, this signifies growth or life, and in another, decline or death. There's that duality. Forest science unfortunately chose the latter, and in accordance with the laws of nature, the consequences have already become well and truly evident after just one full rotation. The movement of temperature in water not only plays the principal role in the supply of nutrients, primarily in the circulation of water through the interior of the earth, but also in all other areas of water resource management, such as river engineering, water supply, and most particularly in the hydropower industry. The effects of groundwater removal from Implosion magazine number 94, a letter to Alois Kokely in 1954. What repercussions are to be anticipated in the groundwater in the brown coal district of the Rhineland were to be extracted to the depth of 250 meters, which is 820 feet. This was the question you raised, and quite obviously the following question can only be interpreted informatively. Here we are concerned with a case similar to that of the Tronsea, where the lowering of the outflow was likewise considered desirable, in the belief that more water would thus be made available to the projected Tron power station during the dry period. Energetic protest by the local community prevented this from happening, because the most senior officials of the Water Resource Department were unable to refute the counter objections with which I equipped Mr. Eibeschuber, Mr. Eibeschuber, the burgomaster of Gmunden, at his request. And in your case, the following is also to be understood. Analogously. No, I don't. It says analogously. I'm probably saying that wrong. To be understood analogously, in order to avert an irretrievable disaster. If the water disappears in the productive Rhineland, and this will and must be the case if the above project is carried out, then the repercussions are truly incalculable. Science is still very much in the dark about the consequences of arbitrarily interfering with nature's water balance, a fact demonstrated by water shortages throughout the world, which would not exist if things were otherwise. What is even more alarming is that nobody knows how to remedy these increasingly menacing water shortages, on the one hand, and the constant increase in catastrophic floods on the other. Water is the blood of the earth, and like the blood in our bodies, requires very specific preconditions for its development, to which above all belong the hermetic exclusion of air, light, and heat. If these conditions are absent, then it is impossible for water to breathe. Integral to this is the original form of motion, which is and generated by the planetary motion of the Earth? Nah, stop it. Now, if as proposed, a deep shaft or several deep shafts were sunk, then in the first place, the surrounding groundwater would stream into the pump wells. Nature, on the other hand, raises the groundwater by means of differences in atomic potential in exactly the same way as occurs with the blood and sap. Due to the heat of pressure of the surrounding groundwater, the inflow velocity increases, resulting in the enlargement of the soil capillaries. The volume of the inflow increases as a result. The erosive forces associated with the dislodge and transport the soil from all sides. With increasing speed, the water streams into the pump well, there to be pressed upwards with brute force in steel pipes. In the process, the water becomes de-energized and is subsequently exposed to direct sunlight and meteorological influences in either natural or artificial channels. Fresh air is pumped into the now waterless shaft, and all stale air extracted to prevent the development of fire damp, the origins and formation of which are still unresearched today. It arises when weak retrograde intermixtures of dispersed matter are triggered between warmed coal gas and diffuse atmospheric oxygen, the finest coal or corn dust, which subsequently explodes when conducted in straight conduits at high speed under strong suction. In similar fashion, barely perceptible micro-explosions take place when water, which contains the most finely dispersed carbonic sediments and atmospheric oxygen, slightly warmed by friction, is forcibly over-accelerated centrifugally by pumps or by too strong a head of pressure. The effect of these micro-explosions, they could also be termed oxyhydrogen gas explosion, becomes all the more powerful as the profiles in which they occur narrow towards the end. They intensify in these hair-thin vessels and propel the contained water forwards and along the enlarging passages. In this way, the structure of the soil is shaken up over an increasingly wider area, which until now has gone entirely unnoticed. It becomes loosened, and as a result of the above erosion, more porous. As is the case in every hot fire, explosions induce the inflow of oxygen, which in turn provokes further micro-explosions in the influent capillaries. The upshot of this is that despite supposedly impervious earth strata, the over-acidified groundwater becomes de-energized and discharged and begins to sink even in distant areas. It reminds me of Florida. One day, the whole Rhineland, far removed from the actual source of the error, would be waterless. Water and air are harmonically structured bodies that have to be moved with great care in order to prevent a change in consistency. Practically, this can only be achieved with the aid of a cycloid spiral space curve, whatever the fuck that is. Like blood and sap, the conducted material must be moved in a predominantly inwinding way. It must move about its own axis axially, hence almost without friction. By moving in this way, a drop in pressure and heat takes place in the direction of the so-called anomaly point. Here we go again. With water, this is plus 4 degrees Celsius and plus 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit, at which temperature the extremely finely dispersed carbonic acid elements attain and maintain their atomic potential state. With the presence of appropriate catalyst, they ultimately emulsify. The emulsion product of this primordial intermixture of sexual essences is then the child, at it were, namely water. This is the accumulator that binds the dynagens, atomic levitative substances, released by the procreative process, which then lift their carrier substance into the zone of the root system. The protoplasms found on the root tips during the growing season take up the surplus formative and uplifting concentrates, which interact with their diffuse counterparts in the positively surcharged atmosphere. What then subsequently occurs, I have already told you, either in writing or orally. I have discussed the above briefly in order to give you an inkling of the increasable outcome, which in accordance with natural law would inevitably be the result of interfering with the last reserves of water in Rhineland. Science, which thinks too mechanically, has no inkling of these things, and is therefore able neither to assess nor to anticipate the repercussions mentioned. Moreover, it only sees the momentary advantages and fails to take note of the after effects of energy production. Little by little, nature is becoming incapable of rectifying the resulting damage. Of course, we're always fucking shit up. I have told you that completely new types of devices and machines exist, which generate higher grade potential differences. These in turn produce propagative and upwardly evolving, multiplying and ennobling reactive forces, which can be used to drive biomachines almost without any cost. These reactive forces also give rise to enormous growth. They are not only developing furthering, but also perform so rationally and efficiently that instead of the braking forces mentioned earlier, they generate additional motive forces that permit up to 9-fold increase in capacity to do work. I'll stop there because I know people are crying and but that's cool. This ain't for everybody. Everyone don't have the mind to understand this, and I get it. So I left off on 83. It's 5 pages exact. All right. Finally, it's going to start something new. Incorrect metabolism destroys the quality of water. See, if people grew their own stuff, they would listen to this, because there's a lot of information about plants and trees and water, but it's all good. About nutrients and salts that plants need, and how you can destroy the soil. Oh yeah. Red Sox suck. I haven't even been checking if they won or anything. I really don't give a fuck. The Celtics suck. They couldn't win if they bought a championship. Who's in the fucking championship? Indiana and Oklahoma City. Watch Indiana win. Just because, well, I thought OKC was going to win just because Homeboy's on the cover of that game. But who cares? There's not, no. I know the book pretty much bores people, but to be honest, I thought the book was going to be more about, the title of the book is shit, not the, how am I going to forget the name of the book? Yo, I failed. I know it's something Earth. I failed. I gotta go look. I got this other thing on. Remember, I was showing pictures of all them people throwing up the W, like Hitler and Columbus. All these, maybe that all these fictitious characters have that, so they could tell the difference between a real character and not. It's called the Fertile Earth. I know it. It's something to do with that. Viktor Schauberger was a German physicist, and he was an inventor. And if for those who don't know, I agree, not know. And the crazy thing, a lot of German people invented a lot of things, but people also got to realize a lot of inventions were stolen. It makes me wonder how many people were actually taken out and their inventions stolen, right? That's why I always tell people, you know, I know some people that are into trying to invent their own thing. I say never fucking register it, you know, to get a damn it, I can't even think of what they're called, man. And I'm always looking them up. My brain ain't thinking this morning. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me drop the link. Especially electricity, man. They try to tell people electricity is something new. No, it's not. Shit, that's what they're hiding in religion mostly, is energy. Whatever you want to call it. Free energy, used energy, just energy, period. What are them things called when you invent something, you gotta get it I can't even think of, you gotta get a, patent. Don't patent your shit. If look at that 13-year-old. If that's a true story, Dom said, is it true? And I get it. But if it's a true story, regardless, look at the kid who just, I watched his video a long time ago before he even blew up and people made a big deal. I watched this video a couple months ago of him taking plastic, because plastic is made from, I think, like the oil waste and shit. It's very toxic stuff. Plastic is very toxic. But they won't tell you that because, in America, people don't want nothing to change, because in America, you could get away with damn near anything. You could poison people and make billions and get away with it because of law, right? The so-called law. So, but, yeah, if you patent it, it's just asking for problems. Then they really will know all your information, even though they could find out who you are regardless. But still, and that's what type of war I'm on, man. You don't need to go to war physically. We just need to start creating our own food. See, that's what, through generations, they already know how many people don't grow their own food. Remember, grandmothers used to have fucking, I remember growing up, a lot of my friends' grandmothers had gardens. Now you don't see that. It's slowly going away because people are becoming more lazy, I hate to say it. Or in poor areas or apartment buildings, it's hard to grow food. But the best way to go to war is to create your own energy, tell the electric company to go fuck off, and create your own food. Then what? Then that's more than half the battle right there. If you got your own energy and your own food, now you need an army to protect it, which that's not hard. Shit. People kill each other every day over nothing. Give them something to protect and have a reason to kill, right? I'm just saying. People kill each other over fucking $2 and But yeah. That's the best way, is to create your own energy. It's everywhere. I wonder about these generators. Are they truly generating energy, or they're just telling us that and they're tapping into what we would call free energy? Poor man's copyright, posting invention to yourself via recorded delivery and keep safe and unopened is the way to go. Patents are a blueprint for your competitors. The cost can be very expensive after a few years, and if you don't have millions to fight in court, completely pointless. Yeah, I also think patents were created, it's like a blueprint to your invention. And it's like giving the person the blueprint. All they got to do is alter it one little bit, and it at that point, even if your shit's copyrighted, if you alter it a little bit, it's no longer yours, right? It's a whole new invention. It's just put in place, I think, to fuck the next, it's sort of like giving someone a recipe, right? And they'll just alter it a little bit. If I ever invented free energy, which I'm trying to do so, I got a little more learning to do. I'm not saying shit to very few people I would talk to about it. And even then, that's dangerous, because For a certain amount of money, people will sell you out, man. You can't really trust anybody anymore. I learned that the hard way. As a matter of fact, I learned that at a young age. You can't even trust your own mother. Yeah, the Mandela effect. I just think all that is the computer altering something. That's all that is, man. It's not even that serious. But yeah, I went back to this place and I tried my best to get. This camera sucks, but I tried to zoom in and show the gargoyles as you see them protruding off the side there. I mean, this architecture is just awesome. It would be doper if I could climb higher and really look at it. I would love to go in these places, considering I pay taxes. Why can't I? It's a public monument. Just like I want to go up in my favorite building there. But if I had millions of dollars, I would donate that building some money. I bet you they'll let me up there. Bet you they would. Oh shit. I hope this video uploaded. Shit. It didn't fucking upload. Are you kidding me? So, I want to focus on the flooding of Hartford real quick. Here's one of the pictures of the flooding. I think this is in 1890. There's tons of floods. So this gotta be, there's the river. Man, even across the river got it. And that's where, across the river right there, is where today, I don't see it there now, but today is a nuclear power plant for the most part. Man. I wonder how much pollutants got into the Connecticut River. Like, I could remember the mouth of the Connecticut River at it used to have medical waste all the time, man, on the beach. Man, what's the name of that? Hammonasset State Park was terrible, man. Nobody wants to go to that shithole no more. If you're gonna go to the beach, go to Rhode Island, man. That's the open ocean. Instead of going to Long Island Sound, is terrible because it's the mouth of the Connecticut River. And there's been so many incidents where there's all types of waste, needles and all types of shit. That's back in the 90s and 80s. So imagine, all it takes is you to go swimming and boom, you step on one of them and you're fucked. All right, let me, as a matter of fact, let me stop this in the background. There we go. And then this is damn, I gotta go back on my phone because I have pictures of the that's the Capitol up on the hill. And like I said yesterday, when I look at this Capitol, whoever built it, almost like they stood on that hill and they knew this happened. Like every season when it's about to be spring, all the snow that melts from up north in Canada and New Hampshire, I think, in Vermont, I think the Connecticut River's in between both, all melt and come down, and that's what's causing the floods. Well, whoever built the Capitol knew, obviously, it's why it's on the hill. And they, and there used to be a moat, which I'll show pictures of that. I got some old pictures from the 1890s. And I would love to go in this Capitol and look around, but that'll probably cost money. Even though it shouldn't, because technically it's my Capitol. And this. Wow, I wonder where this is from. From the top of a building, I bet you. Or an airplane. Man, I'm so glad. Hold on. I should have took a picture of the front of this building, because I think it's this building. Or maybe not. But as I showed yesterday, I'm going to show real quick again. I think they raised these streets for the reason of this. All right, let's see. If anyone wants to hit the link, you're more than welcome to. If not, why do we say that? If not, like a knot is something you tie. If not, I don't know. We got weird language. What the fuck? Where was this? Look at that. In 1638, there was a Latin school, right? There's no way in hell they were building buildings like this with horse and carriages in 1638. Now, I'm not saying this couldn't have been built in 1638. I'm just saying not with horse and carriages. And if so, where was the quarry? And then, yeah, see, oh, I forgot to pull up the electric factories that were in Hartford in 1820s. They already had electric cars back then because they already had them in Hartford. Wow. Hold on. Is this the building I think that is? Look at that, man. Look at that. Holy shit. I knew it. Wow. Hartford Public School was founded in 1638. It is the second oldest public secondary school in the U.S. after the Boston Latin School. Yeah, no picture. Established 387 years ago. Let's see. Marcus Camby went there? Interesting. I know he's from Hartford. The question is, though, is this school still there? Mm-hmm. It is. Interesting. Franklin Chang Diaz is an astronaut. Look at this bozo. This guy's happy as hell. He went nowhere. He ain't going to space. The only space he went to is this imaginary space in his mind. Get the fuck out of here. Eddie Griffin went there in Hartford? Class of 1962. Eddie Griffin's from Hartford, Connecticut. I never knew that. All-American basketball player, led Hartford Public to 2 New England titles in 61 and 62. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Burying ground, yeah. See? It was founded in 1636. This is the cemetery I made a video about. If people want to go watch it, it's somewhere in my videos. Elsa Young of Windsor was the first recorded instance of execution for witchcraft in the 13 American colonies. She had one child, Alice Beeman Young. Interesting. See, Connecticut also claimed lands west of the Delaware River basin 1662 C-to-C Charter. Now that's what I'm interested in. I never knew Connecticut extended like that. Connecticut claimed the Narragansett Bay as its eastern border until 1728. Stonington, part of Mass, now it is. See, what people don't know is New Haven, Connecticut used to be the capital or the crapital. Yeah, I should have taken this one. There we go. Yeah, where's the other land, though? This is this building right here. This building right here is very interesting. I think this is the building. This building's huge. Man, I don't care about these crackers. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? Out of all the good pictures they could show, they show these stupid statues. Amazing. It was founded April 15th, 1817. Funny. Ooh, 195 megabytes. Oof. I don't know how good this is going to be. We'll find out. The American Asylum for the Deaf and Dumb. What a name. Mommy, I'm deaf and dumb. Let's see. What? Gotta be fucking kidding me. There we go. See, I don't think this is that. Because if it is, they changed it a lot. But I don't know. Huh. Wait a minute. What did they knock down? What? Demolition? What the fuck did they knock down? Yeah, this isn't it. This can't be the place. West Hartford. Nah. $18.25. So this is the church downtown that I showed on Main Street. 1827 it says. Christ Church Cathedral is a historic church. 955 Main, built in 1820s to a design by, oh yeah, that's that dude Ithiel Town that I went over yesterday. That guy Ithiel Town was designing all types of shit. Wow. That's crazy. Wow. This is in New Haven. Also designed by Ithiel Town in 1813. This took 1 year to build? Come on. Are you fucking kidding me? Look. 1 year. 1 year? Nah, I'm not buying that. Gothic style at that is very hard to build. Gothic style. Dude, that is not the church. There it is. And they all have the clock tower type vibe to it. All have the clock tower vibe. This St. Paul's in Troy, New York. All these churches look alike. This guy Ithiel Troy wasn't even, if he did build these, he ain't even creative. They're like all the same looking. And this is in New Haven. I want to go to New Haven. I'm going to take a bus down there. Wow, 68 comments. I ain't even keeping up with the Yeah, I think 3D printers were a thing. I mean, if you look at the inventions in these world fairs, how could it not be, right? In the world fairs, they had electric cars, all sorts of shit, man. I think they had world fairs, and a lot of the inventions were tucked away and kept for the elite. Like when you see in these cartoons, like Mirror Mirror on the Wall and all that shit, and the little glass balls they talk through, that's all technology. Now you could even see in the 1950s, they already had what we have in cell phones. They were talking in video calls in the 50s. So just regular people didn't have it and didn't know about it. You had to be rich. Like probably with the elite to have that in these certain buildings. some of the stories they give on these buildings are fucking hilarious. They try to tie in all this architecture to one area, Europe, but you could find it all over the realm. But it's allegedly just Gothic European architecture. $208 pictures. I mean, I wouldn't even know. I mean, a lot of these look like a lot of these pieces of they look like molds. A lot of this stuff was made with molds. But even then, if it was made with molds, I don't think it would come out so level. There would be imperfections. And when you do molds, it could leave like hollow stuff, like hollow spots and molds, like if it don't settle right. Like there's just so much. I mean, this stuff is like perfected, man. This stuff's been standing for how many years? Probably 400 or 500 years, probably longer. And the shitty stuff we build, if you don't maintain it, it won't even last a year. If you stop maintaining it, it just falls apart. So either we're dumb as fuck, and these people were like way smart and masters of this stuff. I mean, look at this, man. They'd be like, this stuff was built in 1 year. Yeah, okay. This is so beautiful. And the architecture then, people put their heart and soul into it. And today, all they do is put their hands and feet into it. Bunch of robots built it. It's almost like time and money wasn't involved in building this stuff. It was built with a purpose. Like a real purpose. You see this archway right here? Where it looks like the firmament with the seven heavens. That is seen in so much architecture, man. I see it all over the world, including Connecticut. That is the seven heavens, actually, in the firmament. It probably symbolizes the seven original planets, including the sun and moon. I don't count 9 planets. I go with the original 7. Shit, they need to make a statue for me. No. Just don't look as clear. early Gothic Basilica of Saint Denis, west facade. Wow. So they're saying these are built in 1135. So that sounds more better. And look how many years they say it took. So you mean to tell me the ones in Connecticut only took 1 year? But these took 200 years to build? That don't even make sense, man. It don't. Not at all. Wow. Come on, man. What the fuck? I didn't do that. Yo. Now it's pissing me off. Where the fuck was this picture? Whoa. Sometime today. Dude, what's going on here? God, dude. Where the hell did I get those pictures from? God, dude. Huh. Yo, what's going on here? Why isn't the pictures coming up? Alright, fuck this shit, man. Oops. All right, I had to switch over. It's pissing me off, this shit. Hey, I wonder what's up with Dean. Oh yeah, that's right. I forget. This video is gonna take forever. Oh no. The Fire of 1899. New Hartford. The New Hartford Village Fire of 1899 resulted in a loss of approximately $15,000. That's it. High northeasterly winds were blowing at the time. See, anyway, what does it matter? Many buildings were threatened. The blaze, which gutted 4 of the 9 businesses. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Aha. The rise of the Black Panther Party in Connecticut, January 26, 1899. Get the fuck out of here. 1899? That don't make sense. Yeah, see? 1969. Now that sounds better. Wow. So there was a lot of racism in Hartford in the 60s, allegedly. Fuck racism. Aha. This is what I forgot to show yesterday. Right, you got your tracks. Look at that, it splits down there. I'm gonna have to go down there one day. And check out all this. All this. But then you got all these rocks, and that's what I mean by people. Rocks like this that just be in the middle of nowhere. Big stones like that just don't be produced by Mother Earth out of nowhere. And there's that church I was showing y'all, and this is that building that I got pictures of that they just filled it in. Fucking mosquitoes, like millions of them. I gotta get out of here. This couldn't have been that old, this building. And the reason why I say that is because you can still see the alarm on the window right here. So, yeah, this, you got your loading dock. And yeah, that's about it. You got your tracks over there. And this is what I was trying to show you. This building comes all the way down up to the street. Right? Somebody's ball. Oh! Damn it. Wow. And then it comes out to here, which is this whole parking lot. $18.99 electric company, Klingberg Family Centers. That's weird, because Klingberg, excuse me, Klingberg is actually a child's home in New Britain, Connecticut. So that's odd that the same people who have electric car companies in 1877 also had children's homes. That's fucking weird. They must have had money up the wazoo. I want to find May 13th, electric car debuts in Hartford, Connecticut.
Today in Connecticut History with State Historian Walt Woodward is funded by Yukon History and Yukon Hartford. Today in 1897, bicycle pioneer Albert Augustus Pope introduced the Columbia motor carriage to thrilled onlookers in Hartford. The battery-powered auto raced through muddy streets and up hills, reaching top speeds of 15 miles an hour.
Ooh.
An eco-friendly
Could
car
run
a
faster than
century
that.
ahead of its time, driven today in Connecticut history.
15 miles an hour. The fuck? Ooh. My car goes 15 miles an hour. So this is the car. Well, I guess no one's coming up. I'm gonna end the live soon. Fuck it. What the hell does that say? Oh, I am attached to my vessel. Yeah, the vessel's a prison. Ooh. I gotta do more, find more architecture. I know where some other spots are, but they're on the whole other side of the city. There's other spots, but I only want good architecture, not just any old building. I want to start going in churches. Somebody mentioned church organs. I remember when churches had organs in them. There used to be a church in Farmington Ave in New Britain, my Gramps' church, and they used to have copper pipes like organs. Not no more. Maybe the heroin addicts got to him and brought him to the metal yard. I don't know what happened. The churches couldn't have went broke. They never go broke. God always looks out for the church. I want to find out what this place is right here. I got to see if I could get over that fence. I mean, I could. Shit, if I was younger, I could get on that roof. I probably still could. I could climb on that railing right there and jump and grab the roof and pull myself up. Or if I was smart, I could probably walk along that wall somehow and just, if there's a wall behind that building, I would walk on the wall and go around the building. Why is it closed off? I don't know, but there's a big camera. You see that pole? There's a camera sitting on that pole. Old 1980s fucking camera. This thing's so big. That shit don't work. I think this is just a parking garage for the, I think this is a parking garage. It actually should be a fucking parking garage for the baseball stadium, which is like right next to where that is. I don't know why they don't use that, because I don't understand where all these people park for the game. Maybe the structure's screwed up, but like I said, last call for people to come up. So I got Kamambo came up, but oh shit, I gotta turn this off.
Hey,
Whoa. What's good, Kamambo?
oh,
It would be dope if you could get pictures in Africa of some good architecture. That would be dope.
give thanks for life. Yeah, yesterday we were talking about Islamic. So in a place, I think I
Yeah,
got a
there's a
book
lot.
around here somewhere. I can show you some.
There's a lot of good architecture. Islamic. The Moors allegedly built a lot of architecture in Africa. I don't know how true that is, but they claim to have built a lot of stuff in America, but I call that fallacy. They just be claiming shit. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I would like to know. I think in America there's a big war, right? The Moors and the so-called Aboriginals don't, for some reason, the Moors have a big influence in New York City. I think a lot of those Masonic lodges are the Moors. I don't know why they don't like each other, but it's just what it is. Damn. That's your name, Paul? I'll call you Paul instead of Kamambo. I'm calling you a city in Africa.
I didn't catch the beginning, but I think you asked if you could be by my name. Yeah, I don't mind.
Because I don't know. Sometimes people don't want to give the real name. That's fine. I get it. Sometimes I regret putting my real name. Not that I have anything to hide. I just don't trust people. There's a lot of people that steal information. And not that they could get anything from me. My credit is shot. I don't know why. Not that I care. You know? Well, I don't need credit to buy something. If you want something, my grandpa always said, save up and buy it. What do you need credit for? You take credit, you're just going to owe money. Damn. Bad signal. I would straight paint the camera and go back in a week. I just wear a mask. That's all. I mean, even then, that really don't do much because there's cameras everywhere. And the thing about cameras, there's only cameras in poor areas for the most part, and there's cameras downtown. But look at the thing in LA, man. Let's talk about this. I didn't even know that was going on in LA, but the police are calling out for safety, right? And what's going to come of this? The government's like, it's our job to protect the people. No, it ain't. Shut the fuck up. There's always something, some agenda comes out of these so-called and I don't blame the Mexican people for being mad at all, because who knows the truth of why these people came here. Maybe the government told the Mexican government to send them up and the people believed they had an opportunity. Who knows the truth? But yeah, I wouldn't be too happy either if ICE came and got me and I was working a job and I was doing good, and then ICE comes and gets you and sends you back. Now, I'm not saying there isn't criminals that came, but I didn't even know there was all that going on in LA. I just found out yesterday. That goes to show that I disattached myself. Like, I don't, whatever. Richie from Boston's annual fuel bill, $250,000. What fuel bill is that? He builds trucks and shit, so he's got to have money. He's making money somehow. He's always fixing his truck. All the years that I've ever, he always mentions it in some video. Oh, my truck broke down. My truck broke down. He goes off-roading. And more power to him. I ain't mad. If I was in his shoes, I'd be exploring too. Due to most is rejecting a percentage of their tones. Oh, it's 25,000. Okay, that's a little more reasonable here. I even think it's gotten to the point in the music industry where these people don't even need to write raps no more. All they do is they could ask AI to write for them. I wouldn't doubt it. And a rapper could die, right? This is how critical it is. A rapper could die, and because their voice is recorded, look what they did with Biggie. They made a fake album. He didn't, someone else could rhyme and sound like Biggie. I mean, it's becoming that fucking corny. Like, hip hop is so watered down. There's no more creativity in it. It's just dookie. All these new rappers are doo-doo. I don't listen to none of them. Like I said, there's no creativity, it's the same shit in every song. Murder, kill, drug dealing, and drugs. And all these rappers cry about certain things, but they're creating their own self-destruction. Why aren't they cry about how the community sucks, but you got all these millions, you ain't buying property. And they say the youth has nothing. Well, you ain't teaching the youth anything but how to drug deal, kill, whatever. If I had children, I'd be teaching them pretty much everything that I didn't have as a young man. I would teach them how to structure business early, LLC, all that, man. I would teach them how to play the game very well. Because regardless of the situation, it doesn't matter what I like or don't like. The system's going to continue to move on regardless. So the fans is their property. And if I had a daughter, I would teach her the same, but I would also instill into her botany. I would teach my daughter how to be a botanist and a witch. Oh my God, Chuck would teach his daughter to be a witch? You're gonna burn in hell. I would do the same. No. I would. That's like the first thing I would do. But through my research, I've come to the conclusion that botany, plants could heal anything, pretty much. But there are some illnesses that are created by man that need, unfortunately, like all STDs are parasites, but they won't teach you that. Huh. Attempted to put God under their feet. And that reminds me of a picture I have. Ooh. There you go. There's the light bearer. Got one hand up, one hand down, and literally standing on the firmament like a footstool. So I guess nobody's coming up. I guess Kamambo tried, but maybe it's a bad signal from Africa. I'm gonna smoke this weed, and if no one's comes up by the time I'm done, I guess I'll end the stream early today. Was it 2? Oh, no, it's 2 hours already. Let me pack this bowl of that Funk Dr. Spot. Fuck. Alright. Man, I wonder where Lucid's at. That's funny. No, that's I didn't know what you meant at first, but yeah. Bex is cool. It's good. Bex talks a lot. I thought I was the only one. I usually talk a lot myself, but it gets old after a while. I already did the talking for over 2 hours. And that's fine. I know every time I open a panel, people aren't going to come up, but... And that's fine too, because not everyone is worthy. I got to work tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sucks. It sucks when you work and you don't want to work. Those are the worst jobs. It's not that I hate my job. I'm not getting any younger. I need to find me a quick investment that'll quadruple my money, and then invest it again and quadruple, loople it. Shit, fucking Truso was going off yesterday. That's one thing I disagree with Truso. I say it respectfully. Is I could prove that there's no curvature. And when I say the Earth's level, or I don't even want to use the words level or flat, but I don't know what other words to use. Because in reality, the only thing level is the water. It's showing you, right, that regardless, it's flat. Besides, if you dig below the level, that's why it's above or below sea level. It's like digging into the table or adding to the table, making mountains and hills. It's basically, you know. But that could be proven with no textbooks, no NASA. Like, NASA don't even show real footage anyway. None of it's real. Someone told me, oh man, NASA's NASA's footage is real, man. You just got to carefully look at it. It was Tom Shepard. He did a video, Not Flat. See, the reason why I think a lot of people thought they were on a ball is because the way the stars move. It looks like they're going below the horizon, but they're not. They're going beyond the horizon. That's the illusion. You could tell that to a person to their face. I've told a Glober that 1,000 times, and they just don't get it. I told them that on Reddit, and they blocked me. And it was a flat Earth, alleged flat Earth page. And I said in the comment, I think it was a flat Earth page, but a lot of people were clowning trying to make flat Earth look stupid, like their cartoon pictures. The guy was saying that flat Earth uses cartoon pictures too, which is true from the alleged ancestors, if any of that is 100% accurate, which we all know history has been altered, changed, flip-flopped. So, but one thing so-called flat earthers have that Globers don't is real fucking footage that is not altered with the fisheye lens or something. So that's that. It would be dope to send up a weather balloon, or I don't even want to call it a weather balloon. A balloon would have to go to like a desert or something, or even just go into a high mountain, like above the clouds, would be real dope. But yeah. Man, it'd be dope to go to the Capitol. They have to have underground stuff in that Capitol. It's built on that hill. And makes me wonder if there's a damn, you know what I was thinking? That spillway that they have in Hartford, they had to create a spillway for the flood water. That spillway goes all the way to Newington. Man, all that mercury and shit. If they had a spillway, that means the mercury, man, that probably went in people's drinking water, because a lot of people in Newington, I think they have if you got in the basement, if you have a what do they call them things that fill up with water, and you need a pump for it, that means you have a well, I think. But anyway, if these homes have a well, that means they're drinking polluted water, unless some amazing way the earth filtered it out, because mercury is heavy. But it would be nice I want to travel in a cave and go underground. And if anyone ever watches the videos of the people that go underground, the water is just so clear. There isn't any water that I've ever seen above ground that looked that clean and clear. And it just, when I look at it through the camera, my body's saying, drink it. But unfortunately, I can't. My mind's be like, drink that good water. Who's going to die sad and alone? I'm going to die sad and alone. Sucks. All my family already beat me to the dirt. So, and a lot of my friends too. So, who's going to show up, man? I'm beating all of them. I gotta find someone that'll make sure when I die, I don't want the hospital to cut me open or none of that. There has to be a way. It's my rights. Even though I'm dead, I should still have a say-so. It's my body. Right? Or maybe not. I don't want them to take my carcass to the junkyard and start cashing in my kidneys and liver like it's copper or fucking steel. Because that's what they're going to do. Is start cashing in on our body parts.
Hola.
Look at these walls I found.
Cool.
I forgot
Where's that?
what's the name of this one. I think it's in. I think this one was the wall of. I forgot. I know it's tagged in the picture, but it doesn't. For some reason, it won't tell me. Like if I go to rename, it just has numbers. It never shows the freaking name for some reason. But on file, I named the place.
What
And
it
I always
is.
put it
Yeah.
down. But I know it's overseas.
Yeah.
I think it might be. Shit. I got the map. These walls, there's something about these. Like the wall of China is so long. It's like 4 United States long. That's crazy when you think about it. Like who built that? 4 United States long. That's insane.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got the map right here. Look at these dogs. I was looking up breeds of dogs. I was trying to find a Chihuahua mixed with a pit bull.
We've
And
got
I
the
found
star.
this.
Oh, there it is. There it is. So cute.
That is, it looks like it's a mixture of a Chihuahua type with the big ears, and he does have a cute face, but
it's the brindle that throws us off. It's his hair. It's the color of his fur that actually on like a small
it is
dog.
a Chihuahua. It's kind of mixed Chihuahua and something. Yeah,
But
the
he
hair
does.
is different for sure.
He does have a look. Yeah, he does have a look that if he was a bigger dog, one thing I've noticed about medium-sized dogs, some of the best mid-sized dogs, you can totally see the half or quarter pit bull in them. Like the pit bull can. I had 2 friends who had dogs from the same litter here in Victoria that didn't know each other, and you could tell by the look of the dog, right? But they were a pit bull lab whippet cross, and they both had bodies more like a whippet with a head shape more like a lab, but they had the musculature of pit bulls, and they were both those dogs lived to be like 16 years old, and they were fantastic dogs. And a good chunk of what was a good part of them, if you think about it, a lab's a great dog. A whippet is a fucking hyper spaz, but they were great dogs. Yeah, they were both those dogs were amazing dogs. Peanut and Timer. I had a friend who had a Staffordshire Terrier like that. Is that a bulldog?
I don't know.
Or is that a pit bull? I had a friend who had a dog born like that. That shoulders were so fucked up and it had so much musculature on it.
But that's because it's mixed. That's why it does that. It's mixed with something.
Yeah, some of them end up with dislocating shoulders at 2 years old.
Yeah, I mean that looks bad. It don't look too good to be angled like that.
And it's not. Yeah, it's not necessarily an intentional look, right? They weren't bred to look that way. It's a byproduct of 2 animals breeding. It could be some inbreeding.
No wonder. See, that's why I believe Cyclops and all that happened. These people were finding, experimenting with genetics.
Well, yeah, I'll bet you somewhere in this world, there's people getting like, boob implants on their biceps and shit.
They already have operations where you can get, fake biceps and shit for real. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the idea of having like, I just know that there's, these some crazy doctors would do things just to perfect, doing better and better different things, right? So the idea of a boob implant on your arm is mastering the arm nipple, right? Mastering making a fake nipple, which we know they don't do, right? People who have double mastectomies, they can have tattooed nipples and stuff, but there are crazy surgeons out there trying to fucking do shit. So if some
Take
crazy
a
person
3D
showed up,
print a nipple.
there are, you know, body modification has been extreme for a very long time, right? So, you know, you can't get a doctor to do stuff. You couldn't get that, you know. In fact, it's been so extreme for so long. That's one of the reasons why science and medicine is willing to, you know, continue to
There's big money in it.
surgically try and help people become an opposite gender, for instance. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
So
They must have been through some hard times to start thinking like that.
well, it just makes me think that, yeah, but you think about it, there's people out there. When I had a government job as a co-op student when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And I met some people from around the country. And one of the girls that I worked with, really weird girl, like a really weird woman, very masculine looking woman. Not that that matters. I'm not trying to imply any transvestigation. She ended up introducing me to a body modification e-zine, and I'd never heard of anything like it, right? But she had her nose pierced, and everybody was piercing things at the time and shit like that. So, but I mean, back in the day, like online, like there were people that would literally, and I'm sorry men, but she introduced me to a web page that showed all of this a bunch of backdoor fucking body mods and split tongues, split dicks.
Yeah, I've seen
like
a split
sick
tongue
shit,
on
man.
YouTube.
You know, like
I was like, wow, what do you? They want to be a serpent, man, to the fullest, a reptile.
yeah. So I'm just saying, like, if what we're offering medically helps some people not do that shit, right? I don't know.
Look at King of Dummy. King of Dummy said, "Can I identify
I know.
as hermaphrodite?" That's funny.
And get a gear installed to F himself.
People are fucking identifying as doorknobs nowadays. Our country looks like a joke, man. You know, I get it. People want to do what they want. That's fine. But as a whole, our country is a circus, a clown fucking circus. That's it. It's the bottom line.
The easiest and safest way to identify as a hermaphrodite and get a gear installed to fuck yourself would be to change the name of one of your hands to vagina.
Damn.
Right?
Or a vagina on your hand.
It's true. You could, yes, surgically have your hand turned into a vagina. We do have to have a special glove for that. But I'll bet you guys would find that really cool. Check out my fucking a fleshlight arm. It cracks me up. Everyone would know what kind of special glove you had on covering up your hand vagina. Next thing you know, we'd have advocates being like, don't be ashamed. You don't have to cover it up. Be your true self. Sorry.
Wow. That's what a lot of these psychiatrists did to people, man. Yeah.
And if someone asks you for a hat.
Imagine having that job. You're listening to people's dark secrets or problems. That's crazy, man. I don't know how those people sleep at night. They must hear some crazy shit. Barging into people's private lives. Well, not really, because people show up there willingly, but still. I wonder how much information they give to the government.
Today is a significant birthday in my family. I ain't saying who because I'm online, but I have 2 relatives with birthdays today. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting?
Your birthday?
Not mine, nope. Mine's in October. What month is yours in?
April. See, this is my theory with this symbol right here.
Yeah.
Is Tesla's free energy. I think these are coils, right? There's 8 points on this coil. There's always 8-pointed stars in pictures and shit, along with a lot of other symbolism. But this is the 8-pointed star right here. I think a lot of symbolism has to do with energy hitting within the symbols. Free energy is probably one of the most hidden secrets. If it wasn't, they wouldn't, either steal your invention or kill you at the worst to hide it. Because what would happen if these things were made abundantly? I mean, you got generators that could create electricity, but then you still need the fuel. So they control that too. But with these machines, you don't need none of that. But, the 8-pointed star. Let me get an example.
I was talking on mute. I'm sorry, Charles.
It still said live to me. So I don't know. So I don't know what you guys are talking about, but yeah, I don't know. I was live the whole time. I even went to YouTube to check. But that's cool. Hold on. Let me fix this. I don't know why it keeps doing this. It's supposed to be saved. Anyway, I'll put this on. Come on, man.